This podcast is for informational purposes only and is not an offer or solicitation of an offer to buy or sell securities. SNN Network, SNN Inc., and the Planet MicroCap Podcast and the representatives are not licensed brokers, broker-dealers, market makers, investment bankers, investment advisors, analysts, or underwriters. We do not recommend any companies discussed. We may buy and sell securities in any company mentioned and may profit in the event those securities rise in value. We recommend you consult with a professional investment advisor, broker, or legal counsel before purchasing or selling any securities referenced in this podcast. Welcome to the Planet MicroCap Podcast. I'm your host, Robert Kraft. Thank you all so much for the support and for tuning in. Do me a quick favor. If you like what you hear at Planet MicroCap, please take 2 seconds and give us 5 stars on Spotify or Apple. This helps with the search engines so that more folks can also discover and engage with all things microcap stocks. Next up on your MicroCap Investing Conference calendar, the Planet MicroCap Showcase Vancouver in association with Small Cap Discoveries happening September 25 and 26, 2024 at the Fairmont Waterfront, Vancouver. It's 2 weeks away. We have our presenting company list up, speakers, sponsors, the whole bit. Paul Andreola, Brent Todd, Jesse Gamble, Matthew Martine, Ryan Irvin, and Harold Leishman will be giving keynotes in person. And we're just very excited. One of the best lines we've ever put together. Don't wait. If you still got time and can attend and want to attend, you can register at planetmicrocapshowcase.com. See you in Vancouver. Speaking of Vancouver, my guest on the show today is Paul Andreola, founder and editor of Small Cap Discoveries. Keep this episode short and sweet because, yes, we are shamelessly marketing our upcoming event in Vancouver. Not afraid to admit it, but like I said, we kept this one short and sweet. We're serving up about 20 minutes of why Canadian markets may have opportunities galore, recent acquisitions, and quick previews on a few companies that we'll be presenting. Paul mentions some of these companies in today's pod and discloses most of them. There's 4 companies that we didn't disclose, so just, doing some back office here. Paul is not a shareholder in Covalon, BQE, Adcore, nor Avercore. Thank you again for tuning into the Planet MicroCap Podcast, and please enjoy my conversation with Paul Andreola. Paul, good to see you, man. And I guess I'll be seeing you in person in a couple of weeks here.
I'll be about 3 weeks. I'm going to see you face to face. You bet.
Absolutely. Well, look, our goal that I wanted to do here today, for some of you that already heard in the intro, is that, I want to kind of do a preview pod for our Vancouver event that we have coming up, Planet MicroCap Showcase Vancouver, in association with the boys from Small Cap Discoveries, Paul and Trevor, who have been awesome helping behind the scenes here. And look, I'm gonna do my best for this to not just be like a full on what's the word, a promo show of the event and patting ourselves on the backs or anything like that. But I thought this would be a cool opportunity to explain why. One, of course, this is an event that we think if you're truly a core microcap investor, like to the core, like this is what you love and want to be in it, why you should be there. No pressure. That's not a peer pressure thing to say or anything like that. But, we really want to convey why, like, these are the kinds of events where it is important to you to meet with management and, ask your questions, get some differentiated insights so that you can make the best investment decision possible amongst a group of companies that, in our collective opinions and from others that I'm hearing outside of this, is one of the best lists that's ever been compiled amongst a group of companies that rarely actually even present at events. Mm-hmm. There we go. That's why we wanted to do this today and really convey and drive that message home. So with that, Paul, give me your 2 cents on that. What do you think?
Hey, Bobby, I agree. I think this, we wanted to make sure that you were putting together an event that, real serious investors, serious microcap investors didn't want to miss. I think we've managed to do that. I agree. The list of names of companies that are presenting is about as good as I've ever seen, certainly in the Canadian microcap space. We're serious investors, so we've kind of, we wanted to see a list of companies that would make us want to jump on a plane and come to the conference. Thankfully, we don't have to. We just, drive our car and park down in the hotel. But I couldn't be happier with the list of names that we've got here. We've got everything from, sort of earlier stage companies up to significantly more mature companies, but the bulk of them are at some form of inflection point that we think, investors can capitalize on. A lot of companies that are growing and profitable, those are the kind of companies, we tend to lean on, but we're also finding a lot of companies that are kind of on the, that we want to put on the radar screen to make sure that we're paying close attention to. And like I said, serious investors, they have to go and do the work, and being able to get face to face with management teams that rarely actually get out and make these kind of presentations. I think that's what it's all worth. That's what it's all about, is trying to get that work done that you just typically can't do by sitting behind a computer.
100%. I mean, not to name a couple names off the list, but like just anecdotally from ones that I've rarely seen, other than maybe at your event or maybe that have come to Vegas in the past. But like, I haven't seen an Atlas in an event for years. Avricor, Balin Technologies, new one. Beware, they go to maybe one event a year, if that. BioRem was just in Vegas. Blue Metric, again, same thing. BQE, rare. I mean, they were just in Vegas, but rarely. CCOM, I think he just goes to Vancouver events. It's a list of companies that you really, either I've come to a Planet MicroCap event, which, we're appreciative of that, or they just don't go to anything, or, just kind of stick at home or whatever.
Well, if you think about it really, Bobby, most of these are serious CEOs running serious companies. They may be small, but they don't have the time to get out there and get in front of investors on a regular basis. They're busy running their business, so they really take it seriously when they step out and present in these formats. So I think we're very lucky to have a number of these companies presenting. Yes, there are a few that are a little bit better known, but some of these things are, they've executed so well, and their stock performance has been so good that they've got a following, and another reason why they need to efficiently get in front of their audience is, at these type of conferences. So
100%.
Again, I couldn't be prouder of the list that we put together. That, along with some of the investors that we know are coming, and just the ability to network with some of the other quality investors and share ideas. You don't get to do this very often, and we're looking forward to it.
100%. So, there's three kind of, not criteria, but when I look at this list that we put together, it's for me, for the majority of them, it's three roads here. It's just either a lot of these companies are just going to continue to grow organically. They're a quality company looking to raise capital, growth capital. Hopefully not at discounts, hopefully at a nice little premium, or with a friendly investor. These are rarely, I don't want to speak for any of these CEOs. Some of these CEOs, they seem like the greatest, and then, they'll go and raise capital with unfriendly, funding source. But I would argue that a lot of them are here because they want, some of them also are looking to do growth capital with, quality partner, or maybe they're an acquisition target. We've seen and talked about ad nauseum at this point. I feel like I'm a broken record with how off with the amount of M&A activity going on amongst these Canadian listed companies. We were just joking offline we had one company that was supposed to come,
we lost one. Yeah,
we lost one. They got acquired for a nice premium, and we
have to hurry up and do this conference, otherwise we might lose a few more.
I was already checking my cancellation policy with the Fairmont just in case. It was getting a little scary, with the frequency in which some of these are getting scooped up. But that provides a really amazing opportunity for, if you do attend and you see one of these companies, you're like, oh yeah, they're either just going to continue to grow or likely get acquired for a premium. Again, I'm not trying to paint with too broad of a brush. Not all these companies are going to be like that. But I've seen some of these lists out there of what folks think, of lists of companies that they think are likely acquisition targets, and quite a few of these companies are on those lists.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a number of things that we like about this list, and one is just that these are almost private equity style companies that are fundamentally strong enough where there's a high degree chance of an acquisition, these companies being bought out. And we've seen with, a lot of the companies that we've profiled, they've been taken out. And, you highlighted one that we were talking about earlier. That's the nature of these type of companies, right? These are companies that we think are either mispriced or have, are at an inflection point that could significantly increase prices. And, we've seen it. Acquisitions in space right now are running more rampant than they were before because there's tons of opportunities. So, I would have a hard time believing that we don't see a few of the names on these lists over the next year or so, or longer, getting taken out if they don't go up in price. That's the way we view a lot of these names.
100%. So, look, I know we said we wouldn't do this, but let's just do it anyway. I know, look, if we did like a short snippet on every company that's presenting with this pod would ultimately be like a 3-hour podcast. So we're not going to do that. But I know, Paul, you put together a few names that you were, even for you personally, were looking at that interested you, that you're looking forward to seeing present. So you want to kind of throw out a few names that you were excited to see, and please give me disclosures too.
Yeah, for sure. Now, one of the reasons why we love getting involved in putting these this type of conference together is we get to benefit by our work. We get to go and actually talk to the CEOs and listen to presentations of companies that we want to listen to, right? So it's not that we're just throwing a whole bunch of names there because we can. These are companies we want to go and listen to. And a company that we like a lot, and I'm a small shareholder of right now, but Kits Eye Care. Kits Eye Care has been a phenomenal story over the last year. They presented at our conference last year, but these guys are hitting it out of the park. Still fairly unknown to the masses. Great little business located here in Vancouver. They're going to be presenting. Can't wait to see them. Another one is a company called Beware Holdings. Beware Holdings out of Toronto. Phenomenal performance over the last year. Solid business, growing, profitable, kind of all the things that we look for. Still way off the radar screen. No analyst coverage, no nothing. I'm sure that's going to change here before too long. BioRem, another company presented at your conference last year in Vegas and in Vancouver. Great business, fantastic management team, hitting all their metrics, still undiscovered, a stock that we think is going to do very well. I'm a big shareholder of that one. By the way, big shareholder of Beware as well. Cipher Pharmaceuticals, another one that just keeps hitting it out of the park. Phenomenal business, still well off the radar screen. Covalon, again, I'm sounding like a record here. Rapidly growing, profitable business. Enterprise Group, another phenomenally growing business. Simply Solventless concentrates, a cannabis stock of all things that is growing and profitable. Again, big shareholder in that company. Zedcor, Avocor Health, like you mentioned, BQE Water. I mean, all these are companies that all have the same sort of characteristics. They're all nicely growing, profitable, and most of these are so far off the radar screens, nobody's ever heard of them before. That's what we're looking for. That's the kind of list we put together, and I think one that's going to resonate with a lot of investors.
Absolutely. And real quick, disclosure on the last few names, I think.
Okay, so I'm a shareholder of Kits. I'm a shareholder of Beware, a shareholder of BioRem. This is this is sounding like broken record. Shareholder of Cipher, shareholder of Simply Solventless, small shareholder of Zedcor, and that's it. There you go.
Very cool. Hey, there's a few of these names also that presented at, I think, your event last year, or maybe gone up a little bit, maybe back when everything, you threw a dart in 22 or something, or 21, like everything was kind of rocketing. But we're still running pretty decent businesses, but for one reason or another, the stock's been depressed or whatever. And now they're actually presenting at our event. I don't want to name specifically any of those names, but I think there's a few of these quote unquote, fallen angels that have kind of snuck their way onto this list, as well as ones that kind of still hit some of those metrics and qualities that you're looking for. I mean, we don't have to name them by name, but I'm assuming there's a few of them.
And that's why we wanted a decent mix, so they weren't all the same sort of category, and certainly some that have different inflection points that we're watching and sort of looking out for to see if they make sense. So it's like the common denominator for most of these companies are companies that have some form of inflection point that we either see coming or they're in the midst of right now. So that doesn't preclude a non-profitable business from being there. So no, I think there's a number of different reasons and different styles of companies here that should resonate for any serious investor. I think that's the key here is serious investors will respect the kind of list of names that are here.
For sure. And want to be clear, there is no junior mining companies at this event. Not one. We have one royalties company, which, hey, it's a revenue generating company. That's stuff that our audience likes. So, we wanted to do, of all things, an event in Canada that was not.
This is the other thing that makes it rare.
All.
This is the other thing that makes it very unique. Probably the only microcap conference in Canada that doesn't have a typical junior exploration company. Yeah,
I had a few ask, and I was like, if I'm being straight up honest with you, dude, like you'd
be in the wrong audience. Yeah,
it's gonna be crickets in your room, dude. If I'm being just perfectly honest.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what else are we missing? I mean, like, look, this isn't a complicated thing, like, and we're not trying to be, shameless here in our in our talking about this event and how good we think it will be. But it's not just that; it's also the network. I mean, I'm already seeing, the types of investors that are signed up for this event. It's as good as it gets in terms of stock pickers and money managers, wealth managers, fund managers. We have some pardon my French, but kick-ass keynotes. Including you as well, who's going to be there speak. What's your topic again? I know we were joking.
You know what? I haven't quite figured out exactly what I'm going to talk about. I got too many things I want to talk about.
I liked what we were jamming on last week. What was that again? It was about
I think it was companies in IR and how you the right kind of investor will find you as opposed to you trying to find the right kind of investor. It's it sort of plays to a little bit of the seriousness of the investor cohort that's going to be here. If you're a company doing the right things, investors like myself and a bunch of people that'll be at the conference will find you. So there's things the company can do to make sure that they get recognized a little bit easier without too much work. Yeah.
Or without, doing a bunch of crazy IR activity,
Yeah, exactly.
And listen, we love our IR friends. I'm not saying that
nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. But even there's even some things I would argue that IR groups could do a little bit differently to help their clients. And again, focus on quality over quantity, I think, and that's why conferences like this, I think, make a lot of sense because you will very efficiently use management's time and effort. And we kind of do the vetting for people. Like I keep mentioning serious investors, right? That's really what we're trying to attract is serious investors that want to come here so that everybody that's attending isn't wasting their time. And that includes investors and the cohort of the companies that are there as well. So I can't stress that enough. It has nothing to do with how much money you have. It's how serious you are as an investor to take advantage of this type of opportunity.
100%. All right. Well, I think we covered quite a bit without getting too long in the tooth on like all the different names that are going to be here and whatnot. I mean, is there anything else that we should cover? Any hot topic also? I don't know, anything that you want to cover relevant to the event, Canadian capital markets? I don't know.
I think the opportunity the Canadian microcap markets are about as good as they've ever been. We've had a good couple of years here for these type of companies. So I think that'll continue. We're seeing a ton of institutional capital coming down market and a number of institutional players are going to be at the conference to sort of reemphasize that. No, again, serious investors that want to put in the work need to come to a conference like this to be able to get their work done efficiently and get to be in front of some of the best companies in the Canadian microcap space. And it's just, this is a great time to be doing it.
All right, that's a good place then. So for anybody that wants to come register, hang out with us, please go to planetmicrocapshowcase.com, register. We hope to see you there. Paul, looking forward to seeing you and Trevor and the whole crew there. And I'll see you soon. See you in Vancouver.
Looking forward to it, Bobby. See everybody in Vancouver.
Thanks, man.